Hello everyone. Today we are in Kuantan, a large city in Malaysia. We had planned to be here before COVID restrictions, but finally we have landed up and we are at the beach. It's called Swiss Garden Beach in Kuantan, a large city in Malaysia. And let's begin our series of videos on Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavad Mahapuran. Today's topic is the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Dhyan Yoga. This is the yoga of meditation. Chapter 1 of Bhagavad Gita, Arjun Vishad Yoga, lamentation by Arjun about the consequences of the war. Chapter 2, Sankhya Yoga, the analytical study of the spiritual science. Chapter 3, Karma Yoga, the yoga of action. Chapter 4, Gyan Karma Sannyas Yoga, comparison of Karma Yoga with Gyan Yoga and what is Sannyas. Chapter 5, Karma Sannyas Yoga. And chapter 6 is Dhyan Yoga, the yoga of meditation. Actually, the first 6 chapters of Bhagavad Gita is all about Karma Yoga, but Lord Krishna has explained Karma Yoga vis-a-vis what is knowledge and what is sannyas, renunciation, what is knowledge which is Gyan, and what is sannyas, that is renunciation. So before we go into the chapter 6 yoga of meditation, a slight recap of the first 5 chapters. In the first chapter, we only know about the lamentation of Arjun, that is his fear and confusion and bewilderment about the consequences of the war, and his statement that Sri Krishna, I don't want to fight. And then Sri Krishna gives him a patient hearing, and from chapter 2 he begins to explain all the knowledge. So in the second chapter we learnt about the Sankhya Yoga, the yoga of analytical studies. In that chapter, Sri Krishna also introduced the term Buddhi Yoga, and he also talked about the method, how the mind gets attached to the material and the mind loses its focus. So the process of getting attached into material objects of personalities, which takes us away from our goal of God realization, is very well described. Dhyayato vishyapunsa sangate shubjayate sangat sanjayate kama kama krodho vijayate krodhat bhavati sammoha sammoha smriti vibhrama smriti vanshad buddhi nashad pranashyati. 62, 63, the shlokas are so important that first we do the contemplation, we start thinking about an object or a personality, and that is how we get attached. We develop the notion that this object or this personality will give me happiness, and that is the material attachment, which is an impediment to our focus, to our Buddhi Yoga, to our Karma Yoga. So Sri Krishna talks about Buddhi Yoga in second chapter, and Karma Yoga, which is we should perform our duties, but we shouldn't get attached to the results, not attached to outcome. NATO is the main theme of Karma Yoga. When we perform our duties diligently and with all devotion and, in a state of enthusiasm and excitement, and we don't think of the outcomes, that is the best. That is what Sri Krishna is teaching. So if we do that, then we become Sthit Prajna, and we live in the world, but the world doesn't affect us. It is like the boat is in the water, but the water is not in the boat. And then we went into the third chapter, where we learnt a great deal about the Karma Yoga, wherein we learnt about how desire clouds our knowledge. Dhume na vriyate vahni, yatholbe na grabhastatha. And the way the mirror gets dirty with the dust, the way the fire is covered by the smoke and the way the womb is covering the fetus, that is how the intellect and the knowledge of a wise person also gets clouded because of desires. So that is the main theme of the third chapter, Karma Yoga, and the fourth chapter we learn about Gyan. If we just acquire knowledge and we don't have the clarity about the purpose of that knowledge, we can attain pride, and that will not be leading to our success. So Gyan, just acquiring knowledge is not sufficient. This Gyan has to be sublimated. The real purpose of Gyan has to be understood, and same thing about the renunciation, sannyas. So there are two methods, karma sannyas and karma yoga. In karma sannyas, the person renounces the worldly duties, but in karma yoga, the person remains in his station and does bhakti to the Lord, devotion to God, that is karma yoga. So a karma yogi is remaining in the situation that he is in, but his mindset has changed. He is now keeping God as his goal and then performing his duties. Whereas in karma sannyas, you renounce your social duties and then do the devotion. And finally, we went into Dhyan Yoga, which is the topic for this session in Kuantan. We are on the beach and recording this video. So let's talk about Dhyan Yoga. I will just pick up the best nuggets from Dhyan Yoga, this chapter. The first iconic shloka that, is so impressive is the shloka number 5. Uddared atman atmanam na atmanam avasadayet atmaiva hyatmani bandhuratmaiva ripuratmana. Shri Krishna is telling, elevate yourself with the power of your mind and do not degrade yourself, because your mind is both an enemy or a friend. If we let go of the control of the mind, it acts like our worst enemy. But if we can nurture our mind, cultivate it like the gardener cultivates the garden, we can make our mind so beautiful and bright that it becomes our best friend. So this is a key shloka from chapter 6. And the next shloka I would like to mention, shloka number 14, which is about Prashantatma Vigatarbhi Brahmacharya Vrate Sthitah Matparah Asita. Shri Krishna is telling the person who is steady in his determination, the person who is focused, and the person who has control on his senses, he takes a vow of celibacy. Such a person who is keeping the Lord as his goal, he attains the yoga, the union with God. So very important shloka where the virtues of being, in a state of celibacy, in a state of steadfastness about the determination is very well described. And then I would like to take up the shloka number 16, wherein Shri Krishna is talking about how we should transact our day-to-day routine, which says yuktahara viharasya yukta chestasya karmasu yuktva sapnava bodhasya yogo bhavati dukkha. In this shloka, Shri Krishna is telling a person who is regulated in his food, he is regulated in his sleep, he is regulated in his efforts, and he is regulated in the recreation. Such a person will attain yoga. Such a person will attain the highest goal of his life, which is God realization, which is the attainment of the supreme bliss. And this is so logical. Shri Krishna is suggesting don't overeat or don't undereat. Don't sleep too much, don't sleep too little. Don't just work, and don't just play. There should be a good mix of work and play. And also, the the recreation is so important. We have to be creative. So these are very beautifully described as a part of the work-life balance Sri Krishna talks about. And then we go into shloka number 30, which is also an iconic verse. Yo mam pashyati sarvatraha sarvam cha mai pashyati tasya ham na pranashyami na sa chame pranashyati. Amazing shloka. Having understood that God is in the three forms, as Brahm, He is there in every atom. As Paramatma, He is seated in the heart of every living being. For example, He is seated in our heart and He is making a note of all our resolutions, all our resolves, all our thoughts. So Brahma, Paramatma and Bhagwan, when He appears in this world as a human, as an animal, that form is called Bhagwan. For example, Shri Krishna Bhagwan, Shri Ram. So He performs so many leelas and He provides so many messages. So these are the three forms of the Lord. If we make the Lord as the ideal, we make the Lord as our goal, then what we do, we start seeing God in everyone. We start seeing God in every object. That's what Shri Krishna is telling. Yomam pashyati sarvatra. If somebody can see God in everyone, and sarvam cha pashyati, sarvatra cha pashyati, he sees God in every object. Such a person is not lost to God, and God is not lost to such a person. This is shloka number 30. And finally, the shloka number 37, 36, 37, that series where the Lord says, in answer to Arjun, that Shri Krishna, you are giving me such a wonderful lecture and you are asking me to control the mind. But how to control the mind? Because it is so difficult to control the mind. Arjun says, Chanchalam hi manah kritsnam pramati bal vadridham tashyaham nigraham manye vayo rivas so sudushkaram. Shri Krishna, you are saying control the mind, but how to control? The mind is so strong, it is so turbulent, it is so fickle, it is so obstinate. It is like controlling the wind, controlling the storm. And look at the wonderful response from Shri Krishna. Shri Krishna does not discard Arjun's contention. He agrees with Arjun. Ashanshayam mahabaho mano durnigraham chalam abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagyena cha grihate. Arjun, I agree that it is so difficult to control the mind. But it is not impossible. By practice and by detachment, you can attain the control over mind. So this is the key message of Bhagavad Gita. If in one word the entire message of Bhagavad Gita can be described, it is sloka number 7, chapter number 8. Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu ma manusmar yudhyacha. We are all part of God. Mame vansho jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana. We are part of God, and being a part of God, we cannot remain ignorant of God. We cannot remain separated from God. That is why this concept of yoga, union with God. So when we get connected to God, the God's energy is available to us. God's wisdom is available to us. God's bliss is available to us. In fact, God is bliss. Raso Vaisa. So when we have the ocean of bliss and we are a part of it, and because we have remained forgetful, now we have the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, and in that series of Bhagavad Gita, we come to this chapter 6, Dhyan Yoga, where we talked about these 5-6 shlokas, but we realize these shlokas are so important and worth reading and reading time and again. And finally, practicing the abhyas and vairagya, which will lead us to the highest destination of our life. And as Jagat Guru Shankaracharya says, Jagat jitam kena manohi yena. Who will conquer the world? The one who will conquer his mind. So much about the knowledge of mind, about the control of mind. I am so pleased to do this video in Kuantan on the beach along with my associate Sri Milind. Thank you so much.